Hi guys, in this tutorial I'm going to give you an overview of the 3 C's of Healthformation. We've got competent, communication and commitment. But before I go into that, this pretty much is why people are doing what they're doing or why they're not doing it. Okay, and it all comes down to when I talk about the goal setting. Because we actually have 5 steps to the goal setting. If I just go down here for you, so there's 5 steps to successful goal setting. We've got 1, knowledge; 2, planning; 3, implementation; 4, review; and 5, repeat. Okay, so these steps are very important, and normally goals aren't achieved if 1 or 2 of them are missed out. Now there's a stat that going around, whether it's 100% true or not, but I bet it's not far off, and that's the fact that 1 in 20 people only achieve their goal. Okay, and I get that because a lot of people go into a goal, yeah, I want to do this is what I'm going to achieve, hey, and that's fine. Okay, but they then don't go on and achieve the goal because of whatever reason, so you get the people that in January who have New Year's resolutions. Their intentions are fantastic, don't get me wrong, that's great, but they never ever achieve their goal unless maybe you're that one who's gone through this process to make sure this plan of yours, this goal of yours is bulletproof. Okay, so these 5 steps are all contained within the 3 C's. Okay, so knowledge, obvious. If you know what to do, that's a really good start to then go forward. If you don't know what to do, that's where you've got to learn. And then you've got to plan your roadmap ahead. Okay, so if you don't know where you're going, how the hell are you going to get there? Okay, no goal is ever as simple as going from A to B. It's never linear. There's always little sort of turnings that we gotta, take on the way. Maybe change the plan, the map, the direction you gotta go. Okay, so once you've got those steps in place, you can then move forward with it. You can then implement it, and at this point, you should be looking at each of the steps, certainly the first few, and going, how achievable are they? Can I do these on my own? Can I do these with, people around me? If the answer is yes, great, you can go ahead. It's then down to you with a bit of accountability to move forward. If you look at them and go, oh, really, I'm not sure I could do that, well, maybe it's not for you. This is where we need to possibly sometimes change the course, change the goal, okay, make it realistic. Then you go off and do the thing, and at any point during those steps, there are going to be situations where things don't quite work. This is where review comes into play. And quite simply, what happened? What went wrong? How can I improve it in the future? Okay, so if you take that structured approach, you can then maybe change a few things, tweak this and that, carry on moving forward. You'll always be coming back to this review, even if you're really successful with the steps. No one ever just goes from A to B in one big swoop. Review is a big part of it. There's going to be things that just don't quite work. Negative feedback is one way that we move forward. We need negative feedback from times. That's how we bounce back to change things, to move forward. Okay, that's quite important. Okay, and then when you've got those steps in place, you've just got to keep repeating. Get the reps in. Practice, 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 and then you'll get there. All right, so those steps are all contained in these 3 C's. We've got, are you competent? Now there's 4 levels of learning again, so this is quite important. We've got unconscious incompetence, which basically means you don't know what you don't know. At any given time, there will be a point in your life where there's something that you're doing now that you once never knew anything about. And then you've got conscious incompetence. So you know that you don't know. Okay? So, for example, when you was a child, you was told by your mum you had to clean your teeth. Now you never knew that, but then you did. We didn't really know what to do and what it meant. Okay? And we're still doing this now. You've been doing it all throughout your life. Someone tells you something, your boss tells you how to do this. We don't really know how to do it. Okay, and this is kind of the sort of where people get stuck in between this stage and the next stage, which is conscious competence. Okay, so when we start something new, we've got to learn about it. We then have to consciously really think about the steps that we got to do. That's how we create habits. And people sort of who don't normally get to their goal kind of get stuck here and then go back. So to create a habit, we've got to keep practicing it. We've got to think about it a lot. It takes a lot of brain power. That's why it's hard. Because ultimately, to create a habit, we've got to turn it into a subconscious action. Okay, which is then the 4th stage, unconscious competence. So you're doing it, but you don't have to think about it. So, for example, when I get people to drink water, okay, it's this chore at the beginning because possibly you haven't been doing it and it's difficult, and you do it for a few days and then you stop because you haven't been mindful of it. But then after a few weeks you're like, well, I'm just drinking it now, I don't really think about it, and I'm probably drinking 2, maybe 3 litres. That's where we got to get you. Okay, when you get there you're starting to really win, because our brain is actually designed to not have to think about all these conscious efforts. 90% of your day is a subconscious action, which is why we end up doing things that we don't want to do, because we've created these, let's call them negative patterns, so we need to override the system. Okay, so if we can subconsciously create more better habits, that's when you're starting to win. You don't have to think about it so much. Okay, and then we'll move into, let's say, the communication part of it. So this is where we can sort of talk it from internal and external. What are you thinking? What are you saying about your goal? Are you being positive? Do you believe you're going to do it? Okay, because then on the flip side, if you're saying to yourself, I don't think I can do this, well, I tell you what, if you don't think you can do it, you won't do it. Okay, quite simply, that will not happen. So this is where the words that you use, the language you use, is massively important to your goal, to the steps you have to use to move forward. Okay, and then external language. What are the voices coming from other people, your support network, your friends, your people at work, your family? Okay, because I tell you this, if they're supporting you, your goal is a lot easier. You can appreciate that. But if they're not on your side, things are really difficult, because at any given point you say, oh, this is hard, I don't think I can do it. They're likely to back you up, because they will support you, whether it's for the right or the wrong reason. They'll make you feel better. You'll need that. The brain will appreciate that. It'll absorb it all up. You then almost concrete that reason you had not to do it. So be careful of the communications from how you are talking to yourself and those around you. That's why the inner circle is so powerful. Use it, guys. Okay, and then commitment. How committed are you to this goal? Okay, if you've done your goal setting correctly, you've got the steps in there, you've then agreed on these steps. Okay, any point when we agree to something, we stick faith by it, we know we can do it. Okay, so if any of these 3 C's break down at any point, then the whole thing just goes. So be mindful of these C's. This is quite simply why people are doing what they're doing and they're not what they're doing it. There is a structure to it. Okay, if you can get your head around this, you're going to be a lot more powerful. Whichever goal that you choose, it's going to be a lot more achievable. Right guys, that's my tutorial on the 3 C's. If anyone's got any questions, just fire them away and I'll be back with you soon. Take care.